Some resistance today. Before now, I bet before you reach here, you would have watched three of the lessons we did in our previous video. We treated candlestick. If you haven't watched it, go and watch the previous videos because every lesson you see is a build up from the previous one. So if you just bumped into this, check out the lesson tree so that like everything is structurally arranged because sometimes we're going to be using it's just an add up. So that being said, let's look at what is support and resistance. Support and resistance is what we're going to be treating today. Candlestick explained so to the basic level. You're going to see where we're going to be applying what we learned in lesson 3, but not now. So support and resistance. What is support? What is resistance? Support is a point in the market where I remember, always take note of these prices. Whatever it is happening in the market is happening with this price. What is happening in real life are what's happening here. So prices, what happens on the chart here are representation of just prices. So what support is, we'll use wherever you see red, we'll take it as, just know that it's a resistance, and wherever it is you see blue, we'll take it as support, so as it's easy for you to understand. So just know wherever you see blue, wherever you see, so like this, it means below here I'm gonna have another zone. So support and resistance are zones, not particularly a single price, right? It's a price zone, so we've got different type of resistance above it, right? So what is support? Support is anytime price comes here, you notice that it reacts, it changes, it comes back here, it reacts, it comes back here, it reacts, and it comes back here. Here is resistance. Anytime price comes here, it reacts, comes here, it reacts. Where we meet, this is a resistance, meaning where price is failing to break above, support where price is failing to break below. That is what is resistance, and that is what is support in the simplest form of it. And that is one of the major things we use in analyzing charts and helping us to know, give us idea, in addition with other things where price is going to be going. But then there are instances, what happens if this guy gets broken, price breaks above this guy, what then now happens? That's where we tend to see resistance becomes support. It breaks that level, you wait for a retest on that level. Sometimes it respects, sometimes it still falls back down. That goes to show, depending on how strong that zone is, that's what we determine. But in the case it holds, this guy that was a resistance before, can turn to support, right? So it's dynamic, it's not static, then it has another new resistance, it's filling. So that's how price moves, right? Let's take it off from here. This guy that was a resistance is now a support, and if this guy fails, maybe comes down, and like this guy fails again, same concept applies, and that supports, that resistance that become a that resistance that became a support can now turn to a resistance, and this guy that was a support, now price riding below it can now retest, and now, so do you understand? So this is what support and resistance is. Just know that resistance can become support and support can become resistance. So let's head on to straight to the charts. Let me show us example. Mind you, when you come new to the charts, um, if you wanna, you have a plain chart like this where there's nothing on it and you're trying to analyze, right? Good you start from the higher time frame, because the higher the time frame, the more valid and more strong that support is, because at each time frame from like at each time frame from 1 hour, 2 hour, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, you would see support and resistance, but then you would not compare the strength of a support you see on 5 minutes with a support you are seeing on 15 minutes. So the one on 1 hour is stronger than that support or resistance of 15 minutes. So for, do you understand what I mean by this? Let's start from weekly time frame, from the bigger perspective, right? So let's even start from daily. You don't need the weekly right now, just yet, as a beginner. Let's start from daily. What would you notice? Remember, I told you any time price comes to a place, it bounces off. Look at a good example of that. So what do you notice? You notice we'll mark this zone like this, and then we'll change it to support. And notice anytime price comes to this level, it bounces. Anytime price comes, it bounces. Anytime price. So this is telling you this guy is a very strong support, and we are getting that from the daily perspective, right? And on the resistance, you will notice that this zone here, yeah, anytime price comes here, it resists. Any price comes near even this zone, it resists it. So these are our two supports and resistance, simple and short. This is from daily time frame. So if we drill down lower, you already know we'll go down to 4 hour, you'll see where they're relevant. So you see, anytime price comes around this zone range, it's, so this is the range where price is now. But does that mean this guy cannot get broken? Does that mean this guy cannot? No, it doesn't mean it's not static. But for the time being where we are right now, price is ranging between this. And on the 4 hour, if we want to identify mini support and resistance, that are in between. If you want to drill lower, because this here, if you want to go to the immediate, would easy thing here, example, look at another mini resistance has been turned to support, has been turned to resistance more than once, more than twice. Right, look at this zone. So notice what is happening here. Price came, it reacted, but then let's pick up the story from here. It came, it couldn't break, but then it broke it. So at this level, we would have been watching out, and when price came back to that level, even though it didn't like immediately where we marked, it still reacted. Right, you could see it around that zone. So what that goes to tell you is support and resistance is not specific price points. It's a zone, it's a range, right? Like for this guy, it didn't react immediately, it broke down. You would have said it has broken, but then it hasn't. It reacted. So this guy, you see the way price is even moving in between this guy, you will not like really like this is not a strong zone. It's a valid zone, but with the way price is, look at this one, is different. It's apt, it's almost at the same zone. That goes to show you how strong this guy is. But this guy is a mini like zone. Why? price has been entering and moving around. So at what point would you know? Because even before the market closed right now, right, you could see price already reacting to that zone. But then you see zone. If we drill down, let's go to 1 hour. You'll find them more. As you go lower, you find more of them. Right. So see, price reacted at this level, tested it, came to this level, reacted at this level, broke it, came back to this level, it couldn't hold, it reclaimed its price back at this level. So that's support and resistance, right? And then if we go to maybe 30 minutes, you see more. So that's how you go. You mark your support, you mark your resistance, right? So example, this you can see 1, 2, 3. So the standard you should use is 3 touches. That's going to help filter a whole lot of noise for you. So this zone, if I'm to take it from here, yeah, you would see that like this zone, see what's happening. Price came once, twice, thrice, 3 times. That goes to tell you there is a zone here. It broke above it. It went all the way up without retesting this zone. The market is back at that zone and it's reacting. Do you understand? So that's how you mark your support and resistance. Let's pick another different assets. Let's mark. Let's pick example Euro USD. Let's check. So that's how you identify your support and resistance. We do the same process. Go from your daily time frame, and yeah, you could see I even have some marked up right here. And I even have some marked up here. So this was it. Support, it got broken. Let's pick another pair. I don't like this Euro USD thing. So remember where I showed you, you just come here and press plus. Let's look at Bitcoin example. Bitcoin currently is moving. So we'll go from the daily. I'm gonna come here. I'm gonna delete everything that's there. Yeah. So if you wanna delete stuff you put on the chart, you just come to your layer button here and delete, and we'll have a clean chart. So we're on daily. Let's identify what can you see. This level here is a zone, and you could see what's happening right there. It was a support, support. Then look at the resistance where price was resisting. Look at another support. Look at another zone. You could see this zone. This was a support. It got broken. And notice something. Immediately price breaks a range, a support or resistance. You could see the move that happened, right? And also here, price has been holding for long and now it has broken. It's testing it. It came, it couldn't break. It came, it couldn't break. So there's high probability that price is gonna like come lower from these points, because it's a typical example of a support or resistance. This is from daily time frame, by the way, that we are looking at things. If you drill down, that's how you're going to see. And this point, you know that this last point here is the support, right? So we'll mark it, we'll turn it to blue. So this is support. We'll drill down so far. So the higher the time frame, the more stronger they are. And look at what's happening right there. So that's how you identify your support and resistance. here also. So I hope that makes sense to you. That's just little example. You keep on drilling. Let's go to 1 hour where we can find more within a range, not the daily. So yeah. So how do you validate a support where you have more than one touch? That's what makes it. Why am I marking this point right now? I'm having 1, 2, 3, you know, times. So that tells me this place is a valid support when it has more than one touches on the higher time frame. So this is a valid support. So I'll start building up from there. Why are we seeing more than one touch? This place where prices currently is the support. Why? We're having more than one touch on 1 hour time frame there. And you could see price reacting there. We have, though we having reactions there, but then it's just like the other one where it's not reliable, but it's a zone. So the zone we can more reliably depend on is this one we found on the daily, and this one we found on the daily, and you could see the distance from 1 hour from those two zones we identify, right? And this is clearly a downtrend already. So me, if I'd be looking for sell opportunities right now on this market, but then it doesn't mean you're gonna sell from here. So you're gonna wait for a retest this level, continuation on this side, right? And in the case it breaks this level, you wait for a retest come here, right? So that's how it. Let's move on to another chart. Let me show you guys the last example, and then you go on. Let's look at which pair are we gonna look at? Let's pick another random. Look at crypto. We look at commodities. Let's pick Forex. So I think we should pick GBP USD example. Come here. And then the same process. If you pick a new chart, just start from your daily time frame. Right? Let me delete everything. Use this button here. Delete. So from daily, what are you seeing? Where would you identify your support and resistance? If I'm looking at things from daily right now, I'm seeing this place, this zone. Say support, and if I extend that line, you would see we would meet up with some other prices that we hadn't seen before. You see, so this zone tells you is a support zone. The major one. Look at, even though here didn't react immediately, but it still did. Right? So for resistance, where is price touching more? You see that price reacting from this level more. So where you have more than one touches, let's say 3, that makes it a valid resistance. Here also it's a valid resistance. So I'm gonna change it to red for you. Here you change it to red too. So that's how we identify support and resistance, right? And the point of this, look at a mini support in between these levels, and if we switch it up, when we go down, look at a support level that was turned to a resistance. So this level It's not a resistance, right? So that's how you keep going on. So when we go down to 4 hour time frame and see what that shows us, you would see what we are seeing. So here the story is it was a support before now, but then it got broken and now it has turned to a resistance and price is heading, below there. Even though it did as if it broke, it still reacted, right? And now it's on a support level. So is this support going to hold or not? So you'd be looking to, but this is not a major strong support, but then there's possibility you'll be hoping for move to this side, but then in the case it breaks, this guy turns to a resistance, and like that. So that's how you identify your support and resistance. With buy from support, you'll be looking to buy for buy opportunities from support in addition with other factors, right? And then you sell from resistance. That's what just basically this whole today's lesson is. But then in further lessons, you're gonna be seeing how we are going to be using them with other things to make decisions in the market to either buy or sell. But then support is just like a table holding something, and when that table gets broken, you don't expect it to hold anything again. And resistance is like a ceiling, something is trying to go up but something is holding it. So the evidence for you to know that, to rely on that resistance, to say, oh, I'm going to be selling because it came once, it couldn't break. It came twice, it couldn't break. So most likely than not, the third time is coming. I'll be depending on that. For those 2 times things happen, it should happen again. So that's just the literal example meaning of what we did right there. So I hope this makes sense to you. So strong versus weak levels are the ones I told you. The higher the time frame, the stronger. The lower the time frame, the weaker. And also you would see some zones that are zones, but then example like this one is a weak level. Price you can't really predict because sometimes it holds, sometimes it doesn't. But then this one you're kind of like almost that, like when price gets here, there's high chances when you sell here, you cannot, this place is gonna hold. There's high chances that when price comes here and you buy, it's gonna hold. So that tells you it's a strong level, and we identify on daily. This one we saw it on 1 hour. So it's a weak level, but it's still a level. So multiple touches 3 times, 1 time, 2 time, 2 to 3 times. It tells you something that level is a strong level. So what are the common beginner mistakes? Common mistakes beginners make. Common beginners I see beginners make here. I told you we are looking to buy from support, we are looking to sell from support, but then it doesn't mean that immediately when price reaches there you just buy. Immediately price reaches here it sells. Because everything we do here is probability, but then you have to wait for confirmation on this level. So even though price comes here, we are looking to sell, but we won't just sell immediately. You would wait for confirmation to give you indication that yeah, the BS have taken over, and then you can sell from that point. To tell you how strong this resistance is, price hasn't even reached that point, but it has started resisting. Do you understand? So that's the thing about support and resistance. So just imagine, um, because price reacted here once, twice, right? It came and you just immediately sold. Like you just sold here without no confirmation. You would have been hit, right? You would just have been hit here on this level. And just imagine I told you that if a resistance get broken, it turns to a support. and you just immediately use that, right? And say this guy, since it was broken, it has turned to a support and price came here. You didn't wait for any confirmation, you just bought from this point. You still lose. So you don't just buy, you don't just sell at present. You still lose. You would have still been hit here again, right? Because this same guy that turned to his support has now again been broken and is now a resistance now again. Can you see? Price broke that level, came, tested it, and now we don't know, is here gonna hold price down, or is price gonna still break above it, right? So there are other things you look out for and mix with support and resistance, but at the basic level, this is what support and resistance mean. And another mistake is you going to lower time frame, maybe 5 minutes, and then hoping on that, because the higher time frame makes the decisions. Whatever happens in the smaller time frame is whatever happens in the smaller time frame follows what happens on the higher time frame, right? So that's just it. So your homework right now, your take home now, actionable step to take after watching this. What I want you to do for me is pick 10 different charts and mark the support levels and resistance levels, just like we did in this video. Different asset classes, identify the support and resistance, mark them on 10 different charts on morning. So that's what you're gonna be doing. Just go to 10 different. So for the next lesson, just identify that on your own. All you need to do is just come to this level, pick any asset of choice and do that. And I will see you in the next lesson, where we are going to be speaking about market structure and how you can mix them with this to be able to make better decisions. So see you on the next one.